So I'd like to start off by saying welcome to everyone who is in attendance for the Sociology webinar. We are very excited to share information about our programs with you. We have just a short presentation planned where you will hear from all of our panelists. And then after that, we'll have more dedicated time to respond to any questions you have. But I do encourage you to submit questions through the Q&A feature as we go along, just to make sure we have time to get to all of them. Before we begin our presentation, I'm going to ask the panelists just to briefly introduce themselves. I'm going to start. My name is Pamela Minty, and I'm the Sociology Undergraduate Advisor in the department. I work in conjunction with advisors in the Faculty Student Services Office to help support students through the duration of their program. In particular, I help with specific questions related to the sociology requirements, and I also assist students with registration in our sociology courses. Normally you'll find me in the Torrey building, but since we're working remotely this term, I'm available for advising over email, by telephone, and I can also meet virtually with students as well.
Great, thanks Pam. I'm Allison Dunwoody. I have the privilege of being the Associate Chair for Undergraduate Studies in the department. And I'm a medical sociologist in terms of my background and my training, but for the last few years, I've been teaching exclusively in the areas of deviance and criminology. Thanks, Zora, you're next.
Okay, so hi, I'm Zora Beatrizi. I'm an associate professor in sociology. I do research on the sociology of death and dying and the history of social thought itself. I teach mostly social theory courses at the 200 and 300 levels. And also I teach Social 100, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Hi everybody, I'm Michelle Morato. I'm also an associate professor in the sociology department. And in addition to that, I'm the current advisor for the certificate in applied social science research, which I'm going to talk about a little later today. In terms of research areas, I generally study things related to inequality and social policy. In terms of courses, you might end up seeing me someday in Soc 260, our inequality and social stratification course. But more likely you'll see me in a statistics or methods course because I teach a lot of those as well.
Hi, my name is Gurpreet Belina. I'm not a professor. I'm the VP External for the Sociology Undergraduate Student Association. I'm going into my third year of my Soc major. And so I can definitely, if you guys have any uni kind of questions, I can definitely answer them. But I'm also learning through this online courses material. So we're going through the same things right now. And if you guys ever need anyone to talk about, my job is basically to be the connection between the executive team and our sociology undergrad members.
Great, thank you.
All right, so I guess I'll start us off. So I think a good place to start is actually defining this field of study that we refer to as sociology. And there are lots of different ways of framing what it is that sociologists do. One of the more concise definitions describes sociology as the scientific study of the social dimensions of human life and human experience. And what this means is that sociologists study the relationships between individuals and the broader societies of which they're a part, recognizing that those things that we tend to experience or think we're experiencing as individuals are actually connected to larger social forces. And so sociology can help us to appreciate just how powerfully the world in which we live shapes what we do and how we do it. And sociology also helps to challenge our taken for granted assumptions about how the world works. And it shows us that things aren't necessarily as they appear to be. And so this is a discipline that can help us go beyond the surface of issues to really uncover the why. And so our students learn to ask and answer really important questions about the human experience. And over the course of their studies, they develop some really highly valued skills that include the ability to think critically, to reason effectively, to carry out as well as to evaluate research, to solve social problems, to communicate effectively both orally and through their writing. They develop the capacity for creativity and innovative thinking, as the saying goes, thinking outside of the box. They also develop the ability to work independently as well as to work as part of a team. And finally, also a global perspective, as well as a respect for human diversity. And these are exactly the kinds of skills that employers are looking for these days. And employers are remarkably clear and also remarkably consistent in terms of what they want. And the 4 key priorities for employers today are communication skills, interpersonal skills, critical thinking skills, and problem-solving skills. And these are often framed as soft skills, those kinds of intangible, non-technical skills that enable people to effectively interact with others, to really get the job done. But some are now, I think more appropriately, referring to these kinds of skills as power skills, pointing to just how important these skills have become, especially in recent years. So, Pam, if we could go to the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about where our graduates go on to work. And aside from academic jobs in universities and colleges, you're not likely to see a job ad for a sociologist. But sociology provides our students with, as I said, kind of a unique way of seeing and thinking. It provides them with a skill set that's really highly valued. And so while the connections between sociology and employment are not necessarily immediately obvious, our students go on to do some pretty amazing things in a lot of different fields. For example, they work in various community affairs, including social services. They'll work in a variety of nonprofit organizations. More specifically, they work in counseling or perhaps rehabilitative work, public health, youth outreach, just to name a few. Some of our graduates do want to work at various levels of government, particularly in the area of social policy. Some go on to work in human rights. Others might find jobs in community development or perhaps urban planning. Social research is another area where a number of our graduates go. So they put their research skills to use in various public and private sector environments. They may work as data analysts or perhaps as policy experts or perhaps even in market research. Criminal justice agencies also hire our graduates. Some work as crime analysts, others may go into law enforcement or perhaps into corrections. The field of education also offers opportunities for our graduates. They might become involved in recruitment or perhaps admissions. Others are involved in administration. Business and industry is another area where we see sociology grads go. They may be drawn to management or perhaps to human resources, public relations, any number of positions. And then finally, media, where they find jobs perhaps in advertising, publishing, or maybe even journalism. And of course, some of our graduates go on to pursue various professional programs, things like law, perhaps medicine. Some pursue social work or go on to do graduate degrees. So it would really be impossible to create a complete list of all the things that our sociology graduates do, simply because they can be found in so many different fields, putting their diverse skills and knowledge to work in really almost limitless ways. Now, I want to tell you just a little bit about the department itself. And so we are a large department. We have 30 faculty members who teach and do research on a huge range of topics. In terms of our undergraduate students, again, we're a large program. We have 400 undergraduate majors and 700 minors. And we also have a large number of graduate students, over 60 grad students pursuing master's or doctoral degrees. And many of them actually work as teaching assistants in our undergraduate courses. And then finally, we have one of the largest student bodies in the faculty with over 7,500 course registrations every single year. Now, in terms of our courses, if we could, Pam, go to the next slide. I think one of our strengths as a department is the diversity of courses that we're able to offer to students. And so with our introductory course, Sociology 100, that provides a really great overview of the discipline. It introduces students to many of the topics that you see on the screen there. And then in our more advanced courses, students get to really dig into particular subject areas, those that interest them, and explore them in much more depth. So for example, students can take a course on sociology of religion and then go on to take a more advanced course on the sociology of religious sects or religion and societies, or they can take our course on health and illness and then perhaps go on to take our course on sociology of mental illness. And I should also point out that we have an independent study option as an advanced course, a 400 level course, whereby students get to work one-on-one with a professor to develop a course that's tailored specifically to their particular interests. And so last year I worked with a student who was interested in looking at the mental health needs of youth who get caught up in the criminal justice system. And this year I'm supervising a student who's looking into the dynamics between doctors and patients and how that relationship influences patients' choices in terms of health and healthcare practices. Now, in terms of our programs, students can choose to really major or minor in sociology, and sometimes students will choose to double major, perhaps in sociology and psychology or sociology and political science. And we also have an honors program, which requires a higher level of academic performance, and it allows for even greater specialization in sociology. And as a final program requirement, our honors students do a final honors essay, a final honors project under the direct supervision of a faculty member. So this is a great opportunity for them to really do an in-depth study in their particular area of interest. So for example, last year I supervised an honors student who studied Canada's new sex work laws and their impact on sex workers. She graduated in the spring with her honors degree and is about to start law school here at the U of A. Another option is the BA in criminology degree. And if you have an interest in this program, I actually encourage you to attend the webinar that's right after this one, starting at 2 o'clock. We've recently also added a new certificate in applied social science research, which Dr. Maroto referred to earlier, and she'll talk about very shortly. And then I want to just briefly touch on two more options that are available to students. We have the Arts Work Experience, or AW, the AW program, and also Community Service Learning, or CSL. And the AW program offers students career-related paid work placements that help them gain that all-important experience, and that also establish networks and connections in their chosen field. And that, of course, can translate into career opportunities once they've completed their studies. And one of our students actually who's doing a double major in sociology and human geography did an internship with the City of Edmonton last year. So she worked on various sustainability programs, and she ended up developing some really great hands-on experience, or getting some really great hands-on experience. And she's decided to continue her studies by pursuing a master's in urban planning and design. And then finally, community service learning. And several arts courses, including some in sociology, have a CSL component with them, which means that students do volunteer or social action work as part of their learning experience. And so they get to take their knowledge and skills that they're developing in their coursework and apply them in the community in real world settings. And then they get to bring what they're learning in the community back into the classroom. So it's a really great, very enriching learning experience, and allows students to make really important connections between theory and practice. Essentially, it really enables them to do sociology. So I think I might have gone perhaps a little over my allotted time. So I'll turn it over to you, Pam.
Gurpreet, if you'd like to talk about the Undergraduate Student Association.
Yeah, no problem. I forgot I was muted. So basically I'm part of the Sociology Undergraduate Students Association's executive team. So I'm VP External, so I'm kind of the one that connects the Faculty of Sociology with the rest of the U of A campus. So that's other faculty executive teams, clubs, speaker series, stuff like that. Usually like during the school year, I would be the one that would come to classes and be like, hey, this is what we're doing, come out and stuff like that. But since it's going to be online, I'll most likely just be like emailing or like Zoom calls or whatever it may be. But so I'm the VP internal. Our president, his name is Luke Whitbourne. So he connects our sociology executive team with our SU executive team. And then we have our VP Finance. His name is Emmanuel Ibe. And then Ana Ortiz Ramirez is our VP Media. And then these names, like, you don't have faces to connect the names to, but you'll be acquainted with them beforehand. But I feel like it's right for me to just like say their names as well. Vanessa Liu is our VP Internal. And then Angele Chenard is our VP of Mentorship and Academic Journal. So we have an academic journal called Invoke. And basically what that allows you to do is that you can submit like your academic article to be published in our peer review journal. And I believe that it's published twice a year. So that just gives you an opportunity to have your work like published. And if that's something you're interested in, you can definitely reach out to us. I believe that on the SUSA like website, there is like a form that you can kind of attach, and then it will go to actually Angele because she's in charge of that. But our goal is basically to promote sociology to the university. And by that, we mean that sociology affects like a major part of our lives, right? Like as Allison was saying that like sociology, like what is sociology not a part of? But especially in times like these, like we see people and like students and like younger kind of people getting more and more involved in like social issues, and like they want to talk about things and they want to be involved. And that's something that we really appreciate as well. And we want you guys to be involved as well. Because we have a bunch of different opportunities. So we have like in our newsletter, we have volunteer opportunities or job opportunities that have to do with sociology. We have different like classes that we can highlight that we think are interesting or that are kind of relevant in this kind of social times that we're in right now. We also have like our executive team is also kind of like I guess like mentorship is like a very formal way of saying it, but we're kind of like, if you have any questions about like the sociology, like student experience, or you're kind of like, oh, hey, like, you know, like, did you take this class? Like, how do you think it would be? Like, we can definitely like talk to you about it. And then if we don't feel like we have the qualifications, we have the resources to direct you to somewhere else, whether that be Pam or whether like we like ask you to like talk to a professor like Michelle or like Zore, right? And then we have like fundraisers and stuff like that too. I know in the past we've had I think it was Let's Taco about sociology. I thought it's funny. I thought it was funny. But so there we sell tacos, and we're kind of all there like hanging out, and they can come up to us, get a taco. I think they're $2, which is pretty good. I don't think there's like a taco selling place like on campus, so you know, ad right there. But there you can talk to us about whatever you want. We're always like there to basically talk and stuff like that, and any like opportunities you want to have, because I know when I was in my first year, I didn't know anyone, and I also didn't know how to get involved. So I actually used to go to like places like this and then just kind of like talk to people and see what I wanted to do, because when you're going to university and when you're like, when it's something that you do in your everyday life, if you want something to be changed about it, if you want your voice to be heard, the best way to do that is to talk to people. And the easiest way I feel like it would be is to talk to your executive team and your faculty, right? Because I don't know, like, what else do we have? We also have a speaker series as well. We've had that in the past, and in that, it's kind of like, I guess it would kind of be like TED Talks, but they're TED Talks in the way that you can like kind of recommend like a topic that you want to talk about. In the past, we've had like fast fashion and stuff like that, and we're always open to new ideas as well. And like my job is to get other speakers and stuff. So our goal for this year, because it's been an unprecedented year, I know you guys have probably heard that a lot, is that we want there to be a more like variety of topics, pretty much. Like we want to be able to talk about things that aren't really talked about, because sociology, it's kind of like you stimulate your mind about like social issues and everything like that. And if we're not talking about it, then those issues are ignored. And like, you know, like university is that time where you kind of like expand your experiences and everything. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that if you guys like ever have a question or anything, like submit them in our Q&A, or you guys could also email me as well. I can put my email in the chat, and then like I can point you to like different directions. But also if you ever want like a volunteer opportunity or anything like that, keep an eye out for our newsletters as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I know that was a lot. I feel like I was talking very fast, but that's pretty much it. I'll
You
put
weren't,
my email.
you weren't at all. That was very well said. So thank you, Gurpreet.
Thank you. Put my email in here.
Next, we have one of our professors of Soc 100. She's going to say a few words about her course. Zoe, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Sorry, okay. Yes, thank you. So I'm going to talk about Soc 100. Essentially, this course is a gateway to everything that Dr. Dunwoody talked about in terms of what sociology is and where you can go with it. Our department offers several sections of Soc 100 each term. And I think this term we have 5 sections, and I'm teaching 2 of them, and next term I'm teaching 1, but I know there are other sections of it as well. Soc 100 is essentially your introduction to what sociology is, what you can expect to learn if you take more courses in sociology, but also on its own, it will give you if you only take Soc 100 and then go on and take no other sociology courses. For instance, I have a lot of engineering students or students from science. You still get a lot out of it on its own. Different professors offer this course in different ways and plan it in different ways, but I can only speak about what I do. So there are 2 main ways in which Soc 100 can be taught. And one is to essentially give students a broad sense of sociology and its various subfields within sociology. So sociology of health, media, gender, religion, family, education, everything. And that's a valid way of doing it, but that's not how I do it. What I like to do is essentially break up the course into 2 sections. And one is to essentially give you a broad overview of what sociology is and how it's different from, let's say, psychology or political science or philosophy or medicine. And then in the second section, I focus on topics that within sociology that I have some knowledge of or I'm personally enthusiastic about, and I'm constantly trying to learn more about those subjects. And I hope that that enthusiasm and knowledge also kind of inspires the students. So in my case, I focus on inequality, gender, crime, and social media. So we will look at this topic at these topics a bit more in depth than if I had to, let's say, teach 10 different subfields of sociology. In both sections, both in the kind of first few weeks when we are looking at more kind of conceptual and theoretical issues in sociology and how sociology is different from other fields. And in the second section, when we are talking about concrete topics in sociology, my approach is to help students relate what they're learning to their own life experiences. And so, for instance, usually I start the term with a discussion of my own. My child is trying to feed me right now. This is for your brother. Yeah. Okay, sorry. So, okay, that's okay, then put it away. So these kind of, everyday experiences, like you have to teach, but also you have children. Or in my case, I talk about my experience of there's a ravine near where I live, and I go there several times a week to walk. But so that's an individual decision, but there are also bigger social forces that impact my experience of walking in the ravine, being a woman, being, for instance, living close to the ravine, the way I approach and evaluate other people in the ravine, are they like sketchy or trustable? Can I go in this part of the ravine alone? And so also I ask students to do the same thing. So a lot of the assignments and even exam questions are not just, okay, trying to test their memory of things, but trying to get students to read about a scenario, an everyday life kind of situation, and analyze that situation using the concepts that they have learned in class. And so that essentially relates to what Dr. Dunwoody said about critical skills, analytical skills, communication skills, and all of these skills, even in Social 100, no matter what professor teaches this course, you will get an opportunity to essentially develop and strengthen these skills. I will be here, so if there are questions later on in the Q&A, I can definitely answer those. Is there anything, Pam, that I need to mention that I missed?
No, I think that's good. We'll just wait and see if there's any questions as we carry on here. So again, just a reminder, if you do have questions, feel free to enter them into the Q&A section, because we can answer those as we sort of go along here. There hasn't been too many questions yet. But next, Michelle Morodo is going to speak a little bit more about our certificate in applied social science research.
Alrighty. So Zori just spent some time telling you about a variety of different topics in sociology that you can study, that you'll get to see in Social 100. I want to focus on a little bit on the research side of things in sociology. Because one of the really cool things is that we don't just talk about these different issues and topics, we show you actually how to go out and do the research to answer your own questions around these topics. And that's one of the cool things about the certificate in applied social science research, which just actually began this most recent year. So I'll very briefly go over some of the things related to the certificate, and I can also share with you some links to actually get to it and see the information regarding it. But this is a certificate that is embedded, so it means you can take it along with your major in sociology or any other major pretty much. And our goal with the certificate is to actually help in skill development around research skills, but also help to prepare you for different research related jobs, as well as graduate school in the social sciences. So we do a lot of research related things within the certificate, but we also look at different professionalization things and to take on that next step beyond university, what happens after. So in terms of certificate requirements, it includes 15 credits of coursework. But what's really great is that for most sociology majors, a lot of this is covered already in your requirements. So it includes an introductory statistics course that's already required, and an introductory methods course, which is also already required. And then we ask that students take 2 advanced methods or statistics courses. And we actually have a broad list of courses that would count for this that go across a variety of different departments. And then the final 3 credits come from a capstone project or course. And in this case, you can take our applied research internship course, or you could take a different type of independent study to complete this requirement. And I'll tell you more about that in a second. So what is this Social 415 course all about? This is a course that I've gotten to teach several times now, and it's really fun because it's an applied research course. So we actually team up with a local nonprofit or community organization, and we go into an entire semester-long research project with them. So we start at the very beginning of a project, we develop research questions with them. We go out, sometimes we collect data, sometimes we use data that's already in existence, and then we analyze it and write up a report and a presentation at the end of the semester. Most recently, we partnered with Capital Region Housing, who provide housing within Edmonton. And we did several projects with them. In one case, we looked through their various administrative data and their applicant records to kind of create profiles of the people they were serving. Most recently, we spent some time interviewing staff and customers to help them improve customer service and how they contact people. And in this upcoming year, we're hoping to actually partner with multiple organizations at one time since we've had to expand this course a bit since there's a lot of interest in it. So you can fulfill the requirement with this course, but you can also fulfill the requirement on your own, potentially by doing a different research project. So this could include an independent study that you do with a faculty member. It also could include honors thesis research, or it also could include different types of research done on a broader faculty member's project. Students who have taken this route have done a variety of interesting things. In psychology, we've had students look at different math programs and how they affect students' math skills. In sociology, we've had a student who looked at some of the capabilities and limitations of Twitter for doing social research. I just recently approved some projects for students in linguistics who are looking at infant speech patterns and interactions with their parents. So there are a lot of different things that can fulfill the capstone requirement. The main thing we want for you with this is to actually go out and do research and get that particular experience. So this might be early on for many of you, but if you're interested in applying for the certificate, there's a couple of forms you fill out. I have some links here, and the links are all available through our webpage. I have a shortened link up here, as well as a whole list of the different courses that apply for the certificate and some general information with that as well. So if you're interested in learning more, you can ask some questions right now. I'm happy to chat about it. You can go to our website, and you can also send me an email later on if you have questions too. So that's just a brief overview, but it's basically a way for you to get more experience doing research in addition to what you're getting in your courses already. Well, that's it for me right now. Hopefully we have some questions we can discuss.
Great, thank you very much, Michelle. So I'm just that was it for our kind of more formal presentation. So this is really just an opportunity to discuss any questions that the attendees have. We've been answering a few as we've gone along here, but I'm just going to kind of look and maybe pull out some that that we could maybe discuss, or if anybody else notices any in the chat that you think would be good to discuss aloud, then we can do that. So I just see one question here. Can we be a psychologist with a sociology major? Does anybody want to answer that one? Or
Sure.
the answer is no. The answer is no. Does anybody want to? I believe that you need that. Yeah.
To be a psychologist requires a graduate degree, at least at the master's level. And so students from a sociology program, ideally perhaps with a minor in psychology, could conceivably, with the right courses, right background, get admitted to a graduate psychology program and therefore get the credentials to become a psychologist. It would just be a little bit unusual.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I tried answering that question, but I misunderstood the question. So for these professional fields like psychology, you have to check the requirements on the, let's say, Alberta Association of Psychologists and things like that, and see what they say. And also the psychology department, what is their admission requirements into their graduate program.
Thank you. I just see another one here. It says, I am currently majoring in psychology. What? Not sociology? Switch. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I'm currently majoring in psychology and minoring in sociology, but am on the waiting list for the criminology program. Would it be easy for me to transfer from my major and minor into the criminology program if I am accepted? So I can kind of take that one. Yes, it would be. Generally the first year of a BA degree is more general. There's options that students can take, so they can kind of tailor the courses to a variety of programs. So usually what you might take in psychology or in sociology in your first year, a lot of those courses could and would transfer over into the criminology program. I know that the criminology program requires Psych 104 and 105. And then there's also some required sociology programs, or sorry, sociology courses, as well as just electives. So even if you're taking, like, let's say a course in history or something like that, that would fit into your BA degree, whether you're in the criminology BA degree or just the, the general BA degree. So one I see here, what types of jobs are available in this department for undergraduate students on campus? Does anybody want to speak to that? So one I can just start us off on that. So we do hire undergraduate students more at the senior level, so more year 3 and year 4, to work as exam proctors in our larger enrollment sociology courses. Obviously, that's not probably going to be the case this year because of the move to online learning, but that is one opportunity. For students who are interested in pursuing some research experience, I know sometimes our professors will work with undergraduate students. I'm not sure if that's always paid or if sometimes it could be unpaid work experience, but that is a potential option. Does anybody else want to add anything?
So basically, I can't really give you specific jobs and stuff that would be available as of right now, but I know that our sociology newsletter usually has some volunteer opportunities, and actually there is a page on the Department of Sociology's website that has various volunteer opportunities and placements, but they're for criminology students. So I can still attach that to the chat, but for volunteering and stuff like that, that's something that you can also reach out to the SU about, is that we can find some that relate to sociology through places like Volunteer Connector, nonprofits, if you're interested in advocacy and stuff like that. I personally have experience in that. So if you are interested in that, I can definitely point you in some kind of direction.
There are some research opportunities too as research assistants, and there aren't a lot of such positions, but occasionally professors hire students, and normally that would be students that they know through their own courses, and here and there people might hire a student to do some of the research tasks for them.
I can add on to that as well. I've hired several different students in the past on some different projects. Generally, I've looked for students who want to work on research projects during the summer. It's usually easier to organize and have had students work on summarizing data. I know people have hired a variety of students to do interviews for them as well. So there are definitely research jobs available. Often though, it takes your initiative to actually find out about them. So if you have a professor in a class who you hear about is doing research, take some time to meet with them, send them an email. We're usually happy to hear from students who are interested in working on the things that we're interested in too.
Great, thank you. I know we're running close to our time limit here, so I'm just going to move on to another question. One is, if I was interested in entering the honors program for my major in year 3, when would be the best time to take on the certificate? So I'm assuming they're referring to the applied research certificate, Michelle.
Yeah, so I would say in this case, you don't actually have to formally declare your certificate until the year you're going to graduate in, but it's good to kind of have a list of the courses in mind that apply to the certificate. So a lot of them will be required for your major, but some of the other ones don't necessarily come up every year. So take a look at the courses and keep that in mind. You don't necessarily have to declare it right away, but kind of know your path a little bit and see what works with what. And also, I'm happy to chat more about that too.
So another question, would taking a sociology course be beneficial for a political science major?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, and I've had several in my intro and in my theory classes, because there's a lot of overlap between the two. But also you could see things from 2 different points of view. So definitely makes you smarter.
So another question, hi, I'm majoring in sociology and was wondering who I go to talk to if I have questions about the major. So I think a good starting point would be me. So you can send me an email at that's SOC undergrad at ualberta.ca, and I would be happy to chat with you more. So I'm hoping to go into a master's program for occupational therapy after my BA degree. Can I use sociology as a major to get into that program?
Yeah, I actually just had a student do exactly that 2 years ago, I think. Yes.
I would just encourage you to probably look at what the specific requirements are for the occupational therapy program, and then you likely should be able to build those into your BA degree. There's quite a few electives in the program.
There's that question up there about thesis.
Yeah, if you want
and what courses, essentially anything you take, but do make sure you take the human rights course and social movements course and intro. Anything that gives you perspectives. Essentially, anyone who wants to be an intelligence agent has to have a lot of intelligence about society in general. So any sociology course will help you. I think courses on social inequality, methods courses, intro, courses on human rights, on social movements, political sociology, all of these will be courses on media.
Great, thank you. Maybe just we have time for one last question. I'm majoring in English and minoring in sociology. Do you think sociology would benefit a career in publishing?
Yeah, I think so. It includes a lot of writing, and it's not just, and a lot of different perspectives in writing as well. So I think that's important, especially for publishing.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that looks like that is all of the questions that we've received. So that's perfect timing because we're right at the 1:45 mark. So I would just encourage you to visit our website, and it's just on the screen here, to follow up with any of the things that we've discussed, as well as my contact information as the undergraduate advisor is on there. You could also reach out to any of our other panelists who were here as well. So thank you very much for attending. We hope you have a great start to the fall term. And yeah, we look forward to connecting with you in person once we get back to campus. So thank you, everybody.